Have you ever wondered how our brains make decisions? It's a complex process, but imagine your mind as having two distinct systems working together. This is the core idea behind Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. He calls these systems System 1 and System 2. They influence everything from our daily choices to our long-term plans. Understanding these systems can be incredibly helpful. It's like having a map to navigate the intricate pathways of our own minds. System 1 and System 2 are constantly interacting. They shape our perceptions, judgments, and actions. By learning about these systems, we can start to understand why we make certain decisions. We can also learn to recognize when our thinking might be clouded by biases or errors. This self-awareness is the first step toward making better choices. System 1 is the fast, intuitive part of our minds. Think of it as your automatic pilot. This system is constantly scanning our environment, making quick judgments, and guiding our actions without much conscious effort. It's the reason you can dodge a ball thrown at you suddenly. It's also why you might feel a rush of fear when you see a spider. This system is essential for survival. It allows us to react quickly in dangerous situations. System 1 is driven by emotions and instincts. This makes it prone to biases and errors. For example, imagine you're walking home late at night and you see a shadow moving quickly. System 1 might immediately jump to the conclusion that it's a dangerous person. System 1 relies on mental shortcuts, called heuristics. These shortcuts help us make quick decisions when we don't have time to think things through carefully. However, these shortcuts can lead to inaccurate judgments. System 2 is the slower, more deliberate part of our minds. It's the captain of the ship, carefully plotting the course while System 1 handles the immediate tasks. When you're solving a complex math problem, carefully planning a trip, or trying to learn a new language, you're engaging System 2. This system is what allows us to think critically, solve problems logically, and make well-informed decisions. Unlike System 1, which operates on autopilot, System 2 requires effort and concentration. We have to actively engage this system when we need to make important decisions or when we're faced with new or challenging situations. However, System 2 can be lazy. It prefers to let System 1 take the reins whenever possible. This is why we often make impulsive decisions or fall prey to cognitive biases. We simply don't engage our thoughtful captain enough. Section 4. Tricky traps. Cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are systematic errors in thinking that can lead to poor judgment and decision-making. These biases are like mental shortcuts that our brains use to simplify complex information. While these shortcuts can be helpful in some situations, they can also lead us astray. One common cognitive bias is loss aversion. This refers to the tendency for people to feel the pain of a loss more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. For example, imagine you're offered a gamble where you have a 50% chance of winning $100 and a 50% chance of losing $100. Many people would avoid this gamble because the potential pain of losing $100 outweighs the potential pleasure of winning $100. Another common bias is the framing effect. This bias refers to the way in which information is presented can influence our choices. For example, people are more likely to buy meat that is labeled as 90% lean than meat that is labeled as 10% fat, even though the two are identical. These are just two examples of the many cognitive biases that can affect our thinking. By understanding these biases, we can start to recognize when they might be influencing our decisions. Section 5. Outsmarting our biases. The good news is that we can learn to overcome our cognitive biases. It takes effort and practice. One important step is to simply be aware of these biases. By recognizing when we might be falling prey to a cognitive trap, we can start to engage our System 2 thinking. Another helpful strategy is to slow down our decision-making process. When we take the time to carefully consider our options, we're less likely to make impulsive choices based on biases or emotions. It's also helpful to seek out diverse perspectives. Talking to people who have different viewpoints can help us challenge our own assumptions and see things from a new angle. Remember, our minds are incredibly complex. There's always more to learn. By understanding the two systems of thinking and the cognitive biases that can affect our judgment, we can make more informed, rational, and ultimately, better decisions.